The lesson.
Oh yeah.
All right, here we go. We got the man JK-47. How you doing, bro?
What's up, my bro? Yeah, good, man. Yourself?
Very good. Thank you for taking the time to make the interview happen. I know we were meant to do it last week and you weren't feeling well, so
Yeah, man.
thank you for taking the time to, rest up and actually make it happen.
Yeah, all good, man.
It's really good to have you on. You're one of the, you're one of the big names that's really coming through the new generation of the Oz rap scene. So I want to take it back to the very beginning, try to catch a whole story as best as we can. Now, you are originally from Tweed Heads, New South Wales.
Yeah, man.
And so I think you're born there like late 90s, is that right?
I was actually born in Adelaide.
Yeah,
okay. I was born in South Australia, Adelaide, but I was just a baby, and then we moved up Queensland way, and pretty much was living in Tweed my whole life from there. So we went up to Yeppoon and that, and Bowen, just came down, and then been here Tweed and Cabba my whole life. But my nan's from here, my nan's from Tweed, but we'll say Cabarita, Cabarita Beach, Bogungar, which is just in the Tweed Heads area, you know what I mean? But I kind of went from Tweed and Cabba as a baby, in between the two places. So they're very close, 10, 15 minutes from each other. And, I guess it's the area, So the area that I come from is this area because my nan and pop were just really connected here, They grew up here, they're from here. And so I really feel my roots are here, even though I was born in another place, you know what I mean? I really feel the community supporting that, and that's where I'm from, Tweed Heads, Cabarita. Yeah.
Now, as someone who's from SA and has no idea about Tweed Heads, is Tweed Heads a rough area, an affluent area, regular?
My environment, it's a paradise, right? You got the beaches, you got, the river, you got, the bush and that. It's lovely around here, man. It's very beautiful. But the life that I was brought up in, I didn't see that. My parents didn't see that. When you got that mindset and that, it's my house was just very it was poverty, man, you know what I mean? But it wasn't like that when I stepped out, you know what I mean? It wasn't like that as I grew and stepped out of that environment, my environment I guess was just not a healthy one, bro, and I guess I had to take my time and grow and hit other places to realize that this is a beautiful place, this is a paradise, but I can't go back to what it was like, you know what I mean? I got to move forward and I got to create a better life for my family that I have now, and just can't be the same one that I grew up in, because it was, even though I'm connected, I feel connection to the people around me and everyone like that. The way I grew up was very disconnected, and I had to find that connection later on. So, and I found it through culture and that, and speaking for my culture and, speaking for my people and that, being a voice. That's how I found my connection again. But I was very disconnected, just wanted to connect to other things and, other lifestyles, thought I wanted to be someone else when, what it is, I was born in 1997, so, I was very much trying to be a rapper, but a gangster rapper and this and that, but that just wasn't the story, you know what I mean? It wasn't my story. My story is about something else, but you know, as it's like this, man. Any place, every place has got a ghetto. You ever heard of that saying? You know what I mean? Like everywhere's got a ghetto, and I think like, you know, not just me, but like a lot of families around Tweed and that like live a similar lifestyle, you know, like drug and alcohol abuse and like, you know, getting taken away, like, you know, doxing that coming through, and, you know, mum and dad just, yeah, not being the right role models and that, not having the right role models around you, and having to just, you know, deal with what you got, you know. But I guess it was hard because like growing up in that house, you know, you'd step out and you'd see so much like wealth and so much like, you know, other families and other people and that, like just so set up, so like straight, you know, like go to school and this fella's got everything that he needs, and you know, well, I wonder why we ain't got shit, you know, like it's that kind of place, man, like the place that has everything, but you know, I grew up in a place where you don't have nothing, you know.
And when you talk about like, you know, obviously in the household you're experiencing things like you said, like, you know, poverty and alcohol abuse, and when you started rapping, you were more inclined to try to do the gangster rap thing. Did all these things tie in with you, you know, I guess stepping out that box and getting yourself in a bit of trouble with the police and all that sort of shit?
Yeah, I mean, like to be honest, man, like I like even though it was drugs and alcohol and that, like my parents knew God, you know what I mean? Like they taught us about like, you know, God, and they taught us like, you know, they still took us to church and that, but it was like I don't even remember, like, you know, like the bad times very much outweighed the good, you know? And I guess I didn't really connect with that, like that sort of shit. I mean, I had all the people around me, all my mates and shit, they were about that stuff, you know, but I don't know, I guess I always saw past that shit, you know, like, cause you know what's gonna happen. Like I don't know, like I did, but like, you know, like boys around me, like I love them, but like can't see that far into the, you know, like I know what's gonna happen. And then like, you know, you didn't even have to be doing shit and it happens, you know, get locked up and that's happened before, you know. I didn't do shit, but you know, got locked up just because we were out when something happened. But to be honest, man, I was never like that, like, you know, like I was trying to make it out, so I was like writing raps and this and that, but you know, it was very much shit that I wasn't about. So I would talk about like hard shit, like, you know, that gangster stuff, like, you know, whatever, but like it's like, nah, that's not you. And this is at a very young age, you know what I mean? Like I dropped my first album when I was back in 2020, and that was 2 years ago, but I've been rapping since I was like 14, so like it's a very, you know, that's like it's just a lot, like, you know what I mean? A lot of growth happened like with, you know, my rhyming and writing and stuff like that, and most of that shit I didn't even upload because I was just like, I would have thought I was dope at the time, but I'm glad that I didn't put anything out because like it's just like, you know, then that shit would be out, you know what I mean? So like what my first album is like fucking like, you know, 8 years of just fucking like of growth, you know what I mean? Like of leveling up in that. But yeah, I'm glad for that too, because the reason why I wanted to be a gangster rapper is because of that influence, man, you know, like that, like, you know, that full influence, and just like I wanted that shit, you know, like, and the only way to get that shit when you're at the bottom, like to come up quick, is to like, you know, do something like, you know, serious. So that's either just like, I don't know, like dedication, like, you know, I wanted to get that, but I didn't want to get locked up trying to get rich, you know what I mean? I wanted to be stable, bruv, because coming from like an unstable, you know, like just poor environment, like, I don't know, mum and dad were still on Centrelink, but we, you know, for some reason we were poor, you know what I mean? Like, I know why, because Centrelink don't give you that much to like survive on, like, you know, but plus, you know, just the shit that they were doing, yeah, it just wasn't wasn't the best environment. So I guess, you know, I've been pushed like a lot, you know what I mean? Like just thinking of like what's expected of me, you know what I mean? Where like just looking at other people, looking at my parents, you know, doing the same shit that they were doing the same shit my friends were doing, but like that didn't feel right. That shit didn't feel right, man. Like, because it wasn't me. I just felt like it just wasn't me. Both lifestyles, both things, you know, my family and then my other family. It's like I got love for them both, but I can't be there. I got to be somewhere else. I'm meant to be somewhere else, and that's where, you know, when music started taking me out of that, you know, like, and when my dreams and stuff took me out of that, like, environment, that's when shit happens for you, you know, like, when you're dedicated and you mean that shit, you know, you mean when you say, like, you're gonna do something and you end up getting somewhere from it, like, you close some doors and a couple new doors open, you know, that shit, I guess, pushed me to be the person I am today, like the stuff that I rap about, you know, from wanna be a gangster to be like, you know, like just cause I thought black skin, you know what I mean? Like growing up, I was like, you know, oh, we the same, like, you know, to the black fellas in America, but it's just like, nah, man, like they got stolen from their land, you know, like you're still on yours, you know, you still gotta say something here, you know what I mean? Like they got they're on a, like that's their home, but it's not, you know what I mean? Like that's where they lay their heads, and that's where their grandparents and stuff are, like that's where their home is, but they're from actually they originated somewhere else, but you originated here, you know what I mean? Like even though I'm South Sea Islander as well, I'm still connected, you know, like you know, on my pop side, and you know, through my mum and that, you know, just yeah, like I don't know, yeah, like you don't really, I'm not really that connected because I don't know much knowledge, man, like, you know, about, you know, who I am and who my mum's dad is. My mum didn't even find out about her dad, you know, till she was a woman, you know, that she had a different dad. So like very disconnected in that sense, but like through this music stuff, like I've created my own connection, you know what I mean? Like connecting with the community and the elders and that, like, you know, the uncles and aunties, like tell me that I'm doing a good job now, you know, like, and I got them in mind when I'm writing my music, and you know, I don't want to let my elders down. I don't want to let my people down. And, you know, the kids in my community, I don't want to lead them astray, you know. I got all these followers now, like that shit means something to me, you know. Like I gotta be me. I gotta be the person I was meant to be, so that when I step into that, you know, elder role, you know, I'm actually contributing instead of just passing away, you know what I mean?
You know, you briefly mentioned that you're partially Islander.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about like your cultural background?
Yeah. So I'm a Minjambul Gujambara man, you know, so that's the, you know, Tweed, Coogin, Cabba area. I grew up here, man, and my nan is South Sea Islander on my dad's side. My mum's got a bit of South Sea Island in her family too. But yeah, like I said, man, you know, like I'm not that connected with you know, knowing where I come from in that sense, if you know what I mean, man. Like just because of the way that I grew up, I guess, you know, like, and the lifestyle, you know, around, I guess, you know, like to connect to your culture and connect to those things, you need to cut off from this lifestyle. You need to go out like on land, you need to go bush somewhere and disconnect. And I've been connected to this, you know, for that long that I can't even, you know, like I can disconnect, but like that's the thing. It's hard to disconnect when you're in the shit. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like I disconnected through COVID. You know, like, and kind of connected more with myself. You know, I really feel strongly, man. Even though like I don't know my identity because of my like because of that loss of knowledge, because of I don't know where my grandparents are actually from and originated from. Like I know for a fact that my nan and pop like were very respected members in this community, you know what I mean? They're from here because they were taken, you know, like before them, like because my family's like, you know, South Sea Islander, they would have got taken, you know, from South Sea Islands, you know, like the cane cutters, and that. So I know for a fact that like they were like big pillars of the community here, you know, they helped out the elders, and my pop was an AEO at the local school, you know, like looking after the Indigenous kids and making sure they're right, and you know, like did big things for them, like community wise, and took them on surfing trips over to Hawaii and that, like, you know, the surfers and that from around here, and was really there for the kids and stuff, and you know, I watched my nan just look after the community like up until she was like old age, you know, still looking after the aunties and that around, and they were like kind of like my only role models really. Like I knew that I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I knew I wanted to help people, you know, like I knew I wanted to be there for the community and like just lead, because I feel like we lacked that when I was growing up. I lacked leaders, you know, like, and when you lack leaders, you just got to mess up on your own and kind of learn from your own mistakes. And so that's why you got like a lot of people just running amok around here, because they're just doing this shit on their own, you know, like they're coming up on their own and they're going to have to learn from their mistakes and, you know, like just hit a rough patch and hit bottom before they can come up, you know, on some real shit, you know. Even though I don't know really where I'm from like that, like I feel like I've got to know myself, you know, over these years I've been alive on this earth, you know, like got to better understand like who I am mentally, how I mentally process things, and like, you know, just what I'm doing here. That stuff is like hard to figure out when you're disconnected, you know, and you don't have a place or a purpose. Because yeah, when you don't have that, when you're robbed of that, you know, place, like, you know, us as black fellas, you know, we were robbed of that place first, you know, and eventually had to fight to get it back, you know, like stood up against like injustice and racism and fought just to get our place back, but we still don't have no place here, you know, because we were counted out for so long. And so like, you know, if you want a place, you got to really, really fight for it. But as I've been growing up, I've been realizing like, you know, like I don't want to, you know, like, do I have a place here, you know, and if I fight for it, you know, do I even want it? So like, I don't know, like I've been finding my place in my own kind of understanding, you know. I got a son now, and you know, my role is to be like a good father for him, and, you know, to be a good husband to my wife, and yeah, just lead these kids in the right direction. Because this place around here, even though we got taught culture, it wasn't my culture, you know what I mean? I learned from the New Knuckle mob from North Stradbroke Island, and yeah, they taught me the dances, and they taught us, you know, like how to practice those dances and this and that. But like just this area, man, like just what we do, there's just a lot of like drinking and messing around and like, you know, smoking billies and that. Like it's just like kind of embedded, man, and like, well, it was embedded in my family, bro. Like, you know, like that shit, like I had to move out to escape that because it was just like, yeah, it's heavy, bro, you know, like I know I'm not supposed to be there and I'm supposed to be someone else. So I had to just walk my own journey, you know. But yeah, like I can honestly say, bro, you know, being a dad now, like, you know, I know who I am and I know my place, you know, and I'm just gonna keep listening and learning, you know.
One of the things that you mentioned was when you would go to school, you would see that the other kids would, you know, I guess, have their shit in order. Everything seemed, you know, tip top.
Yeah.
And when you would go home, it would be different.
Yeah.
That's not what you would see.
Yeah.
You're experiencing poverty and those other things. Now, what I was wondering is, in that time, could the kids at school see that you come from a different background, different circumstances, and did you experience any racism, discrimination, etc. because of that?
I mean, yeah, I mean, like, you know, being that being older now, I can see like, you know, the impact of, you know, people that come before me, like the fighters standing up like for us, for the future generation at the time. You know, their work really like made an impact, you know, it really worked, and like we were actually getting somewhere. But, you know, I've realized now that like just people aren't perfect, and I would be angry at the world and just angry at society, but like I realized along the way that the only person that could change my reality was me, man, you know, like, and like I got outside of that reality and seeing that, like, you know, it's a paradise around here, and seeing that it's like, you know, it's beautiful, and, you know, like recognize its beauty in that. But yeah, it had to take me like escaping where I was at, you know, because it just felt like, you know, it felt like a whole nother world where I was at, you know, just because your parents and your family and that, they are your world as a child, you know, like, and they shape your world, you know, pretty much like how you're gonna go out and receive the world from your home. You know, you're gonna go out into school, and like if that shit's different, you know, you go from your home into your school. If that shit's different, like you're jumping in and out of worlds, you know what I mean? Like, and you know, I don't care what anyone says, like, you know, like you can have teachers and people outside, but like your mother and father, whether they're good or bad, you're still gonna love them, you know what I mean? Like, I still love them, but like, you know, I recognize that like I couldn't get anywhere following them. I couldn't get anywhere like looking up to them, and you're supposed to look up to you're supposed to look up to them, you know, like, and I did, until I realized that I couldn't like depend on them, you know what I mean? And had to depend on God, like mostly. Like I was praying like I've been praying all my life, man. Like it's crazy, like, you know, and like people can say the universe system, whatever. My perception is just, you know, my perspective is like, you know, God saved me from a lot of my situations because, I don't know, like, I felt like he was my therapist, you know, like, and I felt like he brought this shit out of me. So I owe it to God, and I owe it to myself, and I owe it to my family for like just me wanting to be better, you know what I mean? Just be a better person, a better man. Cause yeah, like, don't know why I'm different. Like just different in terms of like how I think and what I do compared to like my dad. I just am, and I guess it's because of his mistakes and the mistakes of the people like around me that like taught me that and that made me want to be better. So in a way, I'm thankful for the way I grew up, man. I'm thankful for every moment, bro, because there's stuff that I understand now where I'm at right now, like that I didn't understand back then. But there's a reason why I understand that, and other people don't, you know. like I gained understanding and perspective from all the things that I've been through. So, you know, I don't pass no hate. Like, I'm just saying that I've been there, and like, it's very much something that can interfere with, I guess if you don't heal from that stuff properly, you know, it can have a massive, like, you know, bad impact on your mental health and like the way you walk and the way you treat people and, you know, the way you take in the world, you know, like I take in the world different now and because of it, and I'm grateful, you know, I'm grateful to be where I am. I see that it's like, it's beautiful now, and, you know, I guess I'm just not thinking, I guess I just grew up, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like I grew up quick too. I can see that, but like, you know, that's just the way I am. My mum said that I was like born like with like an old person's, you know, I look like an old man when I came out. So like, I don't know, like taking that and just everything that I've like say and speak and all that stuff, like, I don't know what it is, but like, you know, it must be the old people coming through me, man, you know, like, it's like, yeah, it must be that, you know, I guess that's what it is.
During, you know, experiencing all these challenges as you're growing up, rap music has been something that you've been drawn to. You mentioned that, you know, you first started, you know, doing the rap thing when you were around 14 years of age. I've got here listed that some of your early influences were like The Game, Tupac, Nipsey Hussle, J. Cole, Joey Badass. What is it that, I guess, made you get into the whole rap thing? And then from 14, how did things gradually grow in terms of the music stuff?
Well, you know, like I wanted to be it because that's just the hip hop mentality, man, you know, like, I mean, not just the hip hop mentality, but the hip hop mentality of like, sorry, brother, the hip hop mentality at the time, like, kind of matched my mentality or our mentality as kids growing up, you know, like, just really just wanting it and like trying to get it, and, you know, always trying to best each other in rhymes and stuff like that. But it was mainly just that image that I was chasing, you know what I mean? I wanted like the clothes, I wanted the, you know, the swagger, I wanted the girls, this and that, but like, with that stuff, you know, originating from another country, trying to be that, I guess, just didn't feel right to me. It didn't feel organic. It didn't feel authentic, like real. And, you know, it wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, looking at like everyone could connect through hip hop, but like, if I'm gonna be a hip hop rapper, then I gotta be my own one. You know, I gotta tell my own story, because that's what it is. Like, you know, it's storytelling, and I think that's why hip hop is universal, because like we all got stories to tell. We all got like our own, you know, stories to tell, and you know, that people can learn from, you know, that we can all collectively learn from together. And I guess, yeah, that's what the Dreamtime stories were, you know, for our people and that. You know, when we hear about like our old people and that telling stories and stuff, that's what they're telling. They're telling stories, but the stories are giving names to nature, and they're giving names to the animals. So there's a respect there, you know, that comes from telling those stories. And yeah, I guess that's why I connect with it, you know, like I got to tell my story or our story for the ones that come up here in Tweed Heads, to let them know that, you know, that they're not alone, and that they can make it out. And, you know, it's not just people in Tweed Heads, you know, it's not just kids here, it's like kids all around Australia and like around the globe, you know, like we got listeners everywhere, like now, like in the world and that. So yeah, you really see that. And especially like the evolution of hip hop, bro, like, you know, how far it's come. And like, even though I was listening to gangster rap, like as I got older, I realized I had to go more back to find out what it was really about. You know what I mean? And like, you know, once I found out what it was really about, that like coming together, that, you know, unity, bro, you know, like that's the stuff that like we need here. You know what I mean? That's the stuff that I need in my life right now. And, you know, I realized that it's not all about that, you know, like, the chains and that, which is so embedded, you know, in the culture, like, but it just wasn't about that for me. Like, I've never been the one to rock chains, bro. Like, tried it, but it ain't real, and it's not me, you know what I mean? Like, people can do it and pull it off, but like, I don't know. That just shit's not me. That's not me. That's not the guy I want to be. And like, I want to be, you know, like, I spent my early years trying to be like someone else, man. Like, I can't do that my whole life. It was too painful, bro. Like, I guess not too painful, but like, I don't know, just felt like unheard, unseen, even though I was going like this and doing this, you know, like, wasn't really speaking what I was, you know, feeling inside. So I don't know, I guess once I started writing and connecting with who I was on the real inside, you know, like with my later stuff that came, that's when I made like that's when I made a real connection, you know, like with Made for This. That was, you know, like just the best stuff I ever written, like the best stuff I ever wrote at the time. And I can honestly say where I'm at now, like, you know, I've left Made for This kind of in the past now, and I've evolved again, you know, like I've just grown again. So like, yeah, I've come a long way in a short amount of time. So like, now thinking back, I'm just like, yeah, like I don't really like, I guess, I can understand what I was doing at that time, but like, I'm just not there anymore, you know what I mean? Like, I'm so forward ahead, and like having my son 2 years ago, like, and getting married, like, you know, like that shit just rocket, like, it was like a rocket for me, man. Like, I grew up so fast. Like, I had to be a man, you know what I mean? I had to handle my business, because I felt like all the stuff that happened to me, like when I was a kid, like I can't do that shit again. I can't repeat that shit. So like the stuff that, you know, parents and that would do around, like when I'm not doing that, you know, I'm focusing on what I got to do. And yeah, shit, like, you know, me and my wife, we've just been really on the grind, like, on who we are as individuals, like working on our relationship, you know, and putting the work in with our son. Like, it's a lot, bro, like, because, you know, in a world where you're just working and working and working all the time, like, you know, I look around and understand why families are so disconnected nowadays, you know, like, and that's just not what I'm trying to be, you know. I'm trying to be like, trying to have a healthy relationship with my son, man, you know. So like, out of everything, that's the most important thing to me right now. And, you know, that's what the album's gonna resemble, you know, that connection there, yeah.
Now, when you mention, you know, that we're in an era where all you do is just work and work and work, when I look at, you know, where you've started rapping to where you are now, obviously a lot of work has gone into getting to this point, and you've got a long way to go as well, I'm sure. Along the way, you know, you've had some pretty notable support slots, supporting artists like Draft, G-Unit, All Day, Nerve, Alex Jones, Briggs, and I'm sure there's some that I'm missing out of that list. And, you know, you're on your second headline tour. Now in, I think it was 2018, that's when you dropped your first video clip, and it was Body the Beat, produced by Nerve.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a competition, man, that I won. That Body Bag Media and Nerve were kind of taking part in. They had like this joint competition, and yeah, the winner would get like a video clip and stuff done and that, and I won that competition, and that's where like pretty much the stuff with Nerve sparked. Like from there we started talking and met up a couple times to record a couple one takes there with Vinco. I think they're Perth based. But yeah, from there like got tracks like Came for the Lot and Sunday Roast. That's where the hype just started building, you know. And yeah, so like yeah, shout out Nerve and the No1 team.
So that was a competition. Nerve and Bagsy are the ones that put it together.
Yeah.
Now that's where your relationship with Nerve has stemmed from. And I think actually for me, one of the not the first time I heard of you, but one of the significant things that I saw from you pretty early for me was when he tagged you in the rapper tag thing, and I think you were you were like, it was 60, then it was Nerve, then it was you, and then that's when I went back a bit, and I'm just like, JK's homeboys with Nerve, and I've actually interviewed Nerve. I've been a fan of his for the last couple of years, and it's great to see where he's taking it. Now, when you first met Nerve and to now, he's one of the biggest artists in the country for rap. In your opinion, as someone who's got a rapport with him, what is it about him that you think has gotten him to the level that he's at the moment?
Bro, it's just dedication, man. You know, like that's a very dedicated man. He knows what he wants, and he just goes for it, bro. You know, like he's got that mindset, man. And he, and he's also like a real, like he's like good dude to connect with, like he connects with like heaps of people, like he knows everyone, because he's just like, yeah, good bloke, man, but like also just real business and that, like when I was making the Sunday Roast film clip and even the 1 in a Million film clip, him and Gully and the boys and that, they had a vision, and they followed that vision and stuck with that vision, and I guess that's what got them to where they are, just they know what they wanted and they seen it and they just took it, bro, and they haven't stopped working, it's like we said, it's work, bro. He's a very dedicated worker, I think.
Not long after, like I think only a couple of months after you did the Body to Beat thing, you did a song with Chillin' It on Body Bag Media.
Yeah, when I went down there, meet up with Chill and that. Yeah, he's mad. Connected in that, and did a couple tracks there and that. But that was kind of like a brief connection, really. Like it was just in and out. I was just at a different place, I guess. Cause as far as all that stuff goes, like that's what I mean, man. Like I kind of grew out of that kind of phase, like trying to be like kind of like involved with everyone. I mean, like if that's you, then get in. But like, I couldn't really see myself trying to fit in where I didn't, like I couldn't really see myself like just how I was saying before, I had to be myself. I had to, I kind of needed that freedom to be me and not try and just be anyone else. And that came when I like started being a voice for my people and my culture. And I guess that's where I got it from, I guess, like it was just when I was making music with Chillin' It, like when I did those songs and tracks, like I think a lot of stuff happened in both our lives since then, to just like drive the wedge in between me and Chill. But he's a cool dude, man. He's a mad dude, you know. Heard he's expecting a baby and that, so like, you know, big love to Chill and the 420 fam. I wish him the best, man.
And I guess like it's a very interesting time there because like I've got that it was in like March 2018, and you know when I think back, that early mid 2000 like just 2018 in general, that's really where, as far as the Oz rap scope goes, things really started to change and people started to really pop off. You know, Body Bag Media was really jumping off around then. And I'm assuming that, you know, through doing Body the Beat, that's how you've met Bagsy, and then that's how you've ended up linking it with Chillin' It through the whole Body Bag Media thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, Chill just ended up seeing some of my stuff that I rapped, you know, like, I uploaded videos just on Facey and this and that, and like, him and Husky and Body Bag would just, you know, they seen it and they commented and shared and stuff like that. Chill told me to come down and so we linked from there, and you know, but really just like, I guess because Nerve was like right there, like not only just because he was right there, we just got a connection, man. Like at the time, yeah, we just really connected, me and Nerve, I guess, and from there, man, yeah, like built the relationship in that, and Sunday Roast did its thing. Yeah.
At that point of the piece, you know, because Chill's now become, you know, the superstar that he's become, but he wasn't at that level at that point in time, but he was bubbling.
Oh yeah, he was bubbling, yeah.
When you'd met him at that point in time, could you see that he was the dude that was going to take it to that next level?
Oh yeah, man. Like, you know, like, I mean, yeah, bro. He had it, man. He had the flow. He had the, you know, metaphors and stuff like that. And like, yeah, you can see he was born to do this shit. And yeah, that shit popped off, bro. Like real quick, you know. But yeah, as far as that, man, like, it's like I was saying earlier, bro. Like, I've done so much growing in the past years that, like, to even think about where I was at and what I was doing, like, it's just so far from what I'm doing right now, man. Like, so if I'm having trouble trying to like speak about where I was and what I was doing, like, it was very much a different thing, man. You know, I think I was even like, you know, like, kind of like yeah, just I wasn't living that life, that very good lifestyle, man. Like, I met my wife like just over 3 years ago, man. So just over 3 years ago, I took a turn, you know. Everything before that was kind of like just, I don't know, just fucking around, man. Like, you know, when I met my wife and like started doing music how it was supposed to be done, not just trying to imitate and trying to be, you know, like influenced, trying to just like only trying to like put my heart and my soul and like my thoughts on the track, you know, like that's when I guess everyone is kind of like, yeah, at that point, man, I guess that's when I became who I was meant to be, you know. That's when I became JK-47, not just because I spit like a weapon, but like I'm using that shit like as a weapon, you know, to fight like against the negative thoughts and the negative mindsets and like that negative shit that goes on inside, because I guess that's where the real battle is like fought and won, like up here, man. And like, you know, I don't know what I'd be doing if I couldn't like just fulfill that purpose and fulfill that like space. Like, I feel like that's all I'm meant to be doing. Like, that's all we meant to be doing as like a, you know, as artists, and that like is to just connect and like lead like that and like really just be that right voice, you know, because I found myself in need of those like, you know, in need of that inspiration and motivation and like kind of like correction so many times, you know, like just from rappers who went that route but now are coming around, you know. When you listen to the OG raps, like you just get like, I don't know, they inform you in a different way, man, you know. Like that's what I love, man. That's what I love about hip hop, man. I love being informed. I love like, you know, I love like how Kendrick like, you know, contradicts himself. I love how like, you know, I love that correction that comes, like that light or that switch that gets clicked when you're listening to a song, and like it changes your whole different mindset, and it like just drives you, you know. Like I feel like the growth into that like has changed me so much that who I was beforehand, like I don't even connect with anymore, you know what I mean? Like I was trying to even though Chill like and that, like they're dope, man, like, and everyone's doing it their own way. Like me saying everything that I'm saying right now is just my truth. It's just my thing, how I'm doing it, because I guess it's different when you got a son, man. Like that shit changes. Like if you speak in that, then you got to walk it too. Otherwise the shit ain't adding up. That's half the reason why, like, you know, I guess people don't speak it, because we're humans and we make mistakes and we might not be able to walk it. But like, you know, like I feel like I got to speak that. I got to speak that empowerment. I got to give that empowerment to these kids, and you know, I got to make my aunties and uncles proud of me, you know, like, and like, you know, like the old people that have passed on, and you know, my nan and pop and my dad, like, you know, I got to show that I'm still doing the right thing, you know. They taught me to do the right thing, and yeah, that's really all I'm trying to do. That's all I'm trying to be about.
In the same year, 2018, I think like your first big performance was at Big Sound in Brisbane.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, those years when I was like just starting out, I was doing performances myself, but like most of that stuff was done with ECB. So like my brother Shigs, and it was just me and my brother Shigs kind of at the time. ECB, we were doing some raps together and putting songs up on SoundCloud, but the other group that I was heavily involved in and that I became a big part of was Gratis Minds. So they're my DJ now that's rolling with me and producing this next album executively is his name's J Orient, Jake King, and he comes from Cabarita, you know. Like when I stay at my nan's house, when I grew up there at my nan's, because I said that I would go in between Cabba and Tweed. So the place in Cabba was my nan's, and the place in Tweed was you know, where we'd live, like the family, my mum and dad and brothers and sisters. So when I lived at my nan's, I was next door to Jakey, you know. He's a year older than me, but we would just, you know, play Spider-Man and shit, and just like I would just go over his house and play, and play PS2, Jack and Dexter. Is that it? Jack and Dexter? Jackson Dexter. Yeah. Play that shit. And I don't know, fast forward to when we're like teenagers and he's making beats, you know. He's doing his thing, hip hop, and I'm rapping hip hop, you know what I mean? So that shit was just like, oh yeah, bro, I see you. And he was involved with this group called Gratis Minds. At the time it was John Doe and Tay D. So John Doe, Kane Douglas, and Tay D is Taylor Dodd, and they were doing their thing, rapping and performing and that. Tay D eventually dropped out, and so when he dropped out, like we were boys in that, and we knew each other. They knew I rapped, and because they were seeing everything that I was doing, and yeah, they just hit us up to join because we made this track called Up Again. I don't know if you've heard about it, you probably haven't, but there's a track called Up Again that's like Gratis Minds featuring JK-47. And that was like just a major vibe. That's when I started that's when my perspective started to change and my mission started to change, because they were all about gratis minds, you know, like free minds, like their minds were free and that. And they taught me a lot about like, they gave me a lot of perspective, you know, like they always saw the positive side of shit. And I learned how to see that. Rapping with them boys and that, like they were very much on that positive vibe tip, and really free with their words and that, not really boxed in. I felt like me trying to be like MC that I wasn't, you know, like me trying to be this rapper that I kind of hadn't grown into yet. Gratis Minds was like played an important part in who I am. And, they gave me that positive mindset of like, kind of what you speak in will be like, brought into existence. You know, I learned a lot of that stuff as soon as I joined Gratis Minds. And a lot of my work ethic, like my drive and that, like comes from there too, because that's where I first experienced like, putting together an album. The first album I ever made was with Gratis Minds. We made it together. It's called Driven, and that, that's when I first, seen the process of making an album. And eventually from there, I worked on my own project, my own album made for this, just making songs and like slowly working on it. And eventually got to drop that later on in 2020. So I owe a lot to Gratis Minds, because when we performed at Big Sound, we actually performed as Gratis Minds at Big Sound. So that was my first time being at Big Sound and that. And So got introduced to like the music scene through Gratis Minds, and then kind of took my own way from there, because it wasn't really like moving the way that it should have been.
2019, you had, I think, your first collab that you did with Nerve, which was Came for the Lot. And then later in 2019, as we talked about, you had the joint with Nerve, Sunday Roast.
Yeah.
You've been doing the thing with ECB around this time. You had a support slot with Adrian Eagle in 2020.
Yeah, that was my first. That was kind of like my first solo one too, the support slot with Adrian Eagle. Yeah, and that's crazy, man, because like we're brothers now, me and that fellow, like we're like this, because like I don't know, that's the first time he reached out for a show, and now we're just like he's on the next album, and like he's played a major part like in where I'm at too, mentally, just the talks I have with that brother are like insane. So like shout out Adrian Eagle.
And then in 2020, that's when you won the National Indigenous Music Award for the Triple J Unearthed National Indigenous Competition.
2020 was like Unearthed Artist of the Year, and then I won 2021 for the National Indigenous Music Awards for 2020. I think I got that in 2021, like the next year, because my album had been out for September 2020, 2021, like in that year. So they awarded me the Album of the Year, National Indigenous Music Awards, pretty much a year later after it dropped.
Okay. So you've won multiple things through Triple J in that 2-year period.
Yeah, I mean, like, it was the NEMA competition. Like, so I got to rap at the NEMAs. That was in 2020. So I got to just rap. I didn't get the Album of the Year. I got Unearthed Artist of the Year at the end of 2020 from Triple J, and I got the next year around in the award ceremony that I performed at, the Nemas, awarded me Best Album of the Year in 2021. Yeah, so that was.
And so I'm assuming that these things have been the introduction to your relationship with Triple J.
Yeah, I mean, Sunday Roast played a big part of that, you know, like introduced me into Triple J. I think that was, you know, a big song for me and Nerve. You know, build up some, you know, like gave me a bit of a run up there, you know, and it got me keen because, yeah, performing with him on the stages that we did, you know, we did Listen Out and we did, you know, like G Unit, you know, together. We, you know, Nerve took me to a lot of, like, you know, took me on a lot of stages and that with him. And yeah, I got to where I was, like, because of these people in my life, you know, Nerve, Gratis Minds, all these people. Like, it was very much the experience with them that, like, helped me become the rapper I am today, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of it's me, you know, but, like, just I take in a lot of shit, man. Like, you know, like learning a lot, bro. Like, you know, like I'm not that ignorant, you know. Like, I take in a lot with what's going on around me. So yeah, Nerve, you know, gave me a push, gave me like a real big boost in that sense. And live performance, bro. Like, you know, like that's Gratis, bro. Like, you know, Kane, John Doe, kind of taught me how to, like, be on stage and have mic control and, like, and yeah, the rest is just really just the fans, bro. Like, I really just, like, connect so much with the fans when I'm on the stage and when I'm just writing this music that, like, everything's just like, yeah, just trying to connect like that way and just, yeah, create a vibe together. But yeah, that's me, yeah.
And then, so you mentioned that, you know, you dropped your first album made for this, and that's what got you the Australian Album of the Year for, I guess, independently releasing that through, and so Triple J has given you that. And then in 2021, you also did Like a Version, and the song that you chose to cover was Tupac Changes.
Yeah, man, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that, because I'm sure when you get the invite to do Like a Version, that's a pretty big deal. Those things go pretty hard on the internet. They bring a lot of exposure. Obviously, Triple J is a massive platform. How did that come about, and why did you pick that particular song to do?
Bro, like, I feel like, you know, who doesn't know that song? I mean, shit, like, but that's not the only reason. It was like, I felt like it was just meant to be, bro, you know, like, what song are we gonna do? What song do you feel like you want to do the most? Tupac Changes was just the one, man, you know. And the band were kind of unsure about it, because it was just like, if you're gonna do that song, you gotta smash it, you know, you gotta nail it. Can't really do, you know, if you about to rap Park out there, you know, you can't just step out with just like not putting on that. So I feel like we did a good job, you know. And as far as the lyrics and everything goes, like, it's it amazed me how much that shit, like, well, like, kind of, it showed me when I was writing the lyrics to, like, those verses, you know what I mean? Like, when I was writing those verses to kind of make the song my own, like, in the sense, like, it just kind of opened my eyes to how similar, like, the shit is, you know what I mean? Like, the like, kind of, I guess, the importance of speaking for your people, you know what I mean? Like, the way that Pac spoke for his people and the way that I speak for my people, it's just, like, it's empowering for the artists and the listeners, you know, like we all go on that journey together, and you know, that's a journey that I think, you know, non-Indigenous fellas need to come along with, but it's a journey that, like, you know, black fellas also need to come along with, you know what I mean? Like that journey of peace and that journey of like kind of just having peace in your own heart and in your own mind, like, you know, that takes a lot. So you know, the only way we can kind of reach that is to just, I guess, share with each other like where we're coming from and our perspectives and that, so we can all just learn and grow. I guess that was the kind of driving force behind it, like to let like fellas know like that don't want to understand this or don't want to understand where we're coming from, to like get them to understand where I'm coming from, to understand how we feel and, you know, what we're dealing with. But at the end of the day, people aren't gonna just listen, so like you just gotta like say it anyways, you know, like you don't care anyone's listening, you know. But I know people are listening. I know people are like, you know, I know I'm leading the generation in that. So you know, I speak like it, and you know, I hope just hope I can, you know, play my part and do what I'm meant to do, you know what I mean?
And then in the same year, now it wasn't Bars of Steel, it was the 64 Bars on Red Bull. Now, again, you know, Red Bull, that's a big brand, big platform. How did that come about, and how was that received?
I guess they hit us up, you know what I mean? They hit us up, and we just jumped on it because we were just trying to get what we had out there, you know, keep the ball rolling and that. But you know, going down there and doing that was good, you know. We got on our hip hop steez, and Jay came through with the beat, and it was taken pretty well, you know, like but I guess it was good to go down the studios. The studio that we were in was dope, you know. Good people and that around us. And yeah, we just went through and did the thing, man. Yeah, shit.
And then again, same year, 2021, that's when you got tagged in the rapper tag thing. And Nerve was the dude. I think it was 360 started it. He tagged Nerve, and then Nerve tagged you. So you were pretty early in the piece.
Yeah.
For the record, like I've had this conversation with a few people before, I'll put it out there. In my opinion, out of all the rapper tags of that series, because there was the original one 10 years ago, Nerve, I thought, had the best one.
Yeah.
That was my favorite one.
Yeah.
For you personally, did you have a favorite rapper tag out of all the ones that have been done?
Dobby's one goes pretty hard. I don't know if you know Dobby, but like he got tagged in the rapper tag. He was pretty mad in that, you know, like he went in. Little brother Nate G went in also, you know. Everybody doing their part, you know, like, I mean, yeah, like whoever contributed, you know, I got love for everyone, but like in the same sense, like I found that just when you're working on like, you know, a project, and plus you got like family and that, like a lot of my energy gets used up, you know, like I can't put a lot of my energy, the energy that I put into the music goes into the making of the music, you know what I mean? Because like, yeah, I'm not fully immersed, because I can't be. Like, if I was fully immersed, then I'd be like shutting off my family, you know what I mean? Like, and that's not something I'm prepared to do. So yeah, when I do music and when I rap, like I I'm not fully immersed into the scene, bro. I can't really say that, you know, like, and that's not to hate, and that's not to like say that I'm not listening, because I am listening, but like, I'm also speaking, you know, like I got something to say, you know, and I'm not ignorant. I'm not trying to speak over anyone, but I'm really trying to relay it in the right way, you know, and get it out there in the right way possible. So that takes a lot of disconnecting, as we said, from things. You know, I was connected in the music scene, like, but now, like, as far as everything else goes, I've just had to disconnect, man. Again, you know, I was always online and that, and I was like on my phone and that. Like when I first started out, I was really socially present on my phone and that, and like just following the trend of like, you know, being present on social media. But like as time went on, I didn't realize, like I now realize like how much that like takes away from you, how much time that really takes away, and how much energy that takes away. Just being socially present, you know, you're not really present there with whatever's happening when you're actually recording or whatever, you know what I mean? It's just like, I'm not fucking about that, man. That's just not who I am. Like, I have to be present with my family. I have to be present when I'm at these events, like, you know, when I'm doing stuff like for culture or whatever, and I just don't feel right, like parading that, putting that up, you know, like I got something to prove. I'm doing this for my own thing, for my own, like, you know, stuff. And I get like, it's all about support and this and that. But I think, you know, fans and artists have you know, it's very, very different, because like there could be a time where you could stand in the same room as some of the greats, you know what I mean? And like step into those shoes as some of the greats. So like, it's kind of like you got to realize your own greatness. So like when I seen Hilltop Hoods and when I seen greats like play, like they killed it, they ripped it. But in my heart, in my mind was just like a hunger to just be on that stage, you know, like to be there. And so like, I guess, yeah, like maybe that's just an artist thing. Like, I don't know if every artist feel like that, but like yeah, I guess yeah, that's what I'm really just trying to say. I'm like just really been cause that Rapid Tag dropped in 2021. That was last year, man. This past year have just been like a lot of growth, man. A lot of things have changed, if you get what I mean. And yeah, I'm very much in a different place to where I was even just like a month ago. You know what I mean?
I'm actually from South America, so I'm from Peru. I migrated to Australia in 1991.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it took me a while to adapt, because obviously even the language, I didn't speak English, so
Oh, true.
I spoke Spanish. Yeah, so I came to Australia speaking nothing but Spanish.
Oh, dope, bro.
And I didn't get put in an English learning center before I got put into mainstream school. I just got dumped in there.
True.
And my experiences in Australia were different to a lot of my friends because of that. And one of the things that it took me a while to sort of gauge an understanding of was the whole thing with Australia Day. And, you know, over the recent years, you know, I think Triple J no longer has their hottest 100 on that day, as they traditionally used to. And, you know, AB Original dropped that single a few years ago, January 26th. And there's a whole conversation around it now that wasn't happening when I first moved to Australia. You know what I mean? It's like, it's become something that's actually spoken about on the big platforms now. Now, as an Indigenous man in Australia, how do you feel about that particular day, the name of that day, the changing of the date, and the whole conversation around that. What's your take on that, and how do you feel about that?
Well, bro, like, being where we are today, it's a major disrespect, man, when, the queen of colonization can get a day of mourning in like a week's notice. But it's, and we still don't have that, and it's been hundreds of years, man. Like, it's been, like you said it yourself, all these platforms are talking about it like we know what the right thing to do is. But it just seems like so ignorant, so stupid, like it's so dumb. Like in so many TV shows, they're talking about Columbus Day, but they're talking about how they know it's a day of not to celebrate, like that's all they say in like these American TV shows when they talk about Columbus Day, is that it's actually like Australia Day, like we know what the right thing to do is, but for some reason, like I feel like I can see why. It's because humans don't like being corrected, man, like we don't like being corrected. And if you do welcome correction, then you're actually gonna grow. If you welcome that, so like if you welcome that sort of thing and you're willing to say, like, if you're wrong, oh yeah, I was wrong. What's right? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, da da da. Like you're like, if you got that kind of mindset, you grow and you grow and you grow. Like, cause I realized like that's been me. I've been wrong at like plenty of times in my life, and I've had to turn. I've had to turn and turn and turn to eventually get to where I am today. Like I've been saying in this interview, like, if I'm going back, like I don't know what I was thinking back then. Cause when I get to today, like so many things have like shaped me, like I spent time like just mucking around like on a path that wasn't for me, and to come back around and be on this path now, a path for, a path of like reconciliation it is, but like a path of like teaching, I got to teach these kids like that even though you might feel out of place, like you do have a place, because we've like our whole lives as like, Indigenous Australians, we've been told that we don't have a place here, like in the place that we had a place. If we don't have a place here, then where do we go? You know what I mean? Like, and so now they're saying that we do have a place. We've been misplaced for so long that we're just lost, bro. Like, like I said, I don't know my culture because it's been lost. That knowledge has been lost. But I know one thing, man. Like when tragedy hits, whoever it is, like whoever, like your tribe is or your race or whatever, like you're gonna come together and you're gonna help. Like, like the floods that hit this area, man. Like people got hit hard, bro. They lost everything, man, and everyone came together. Like everyone around. Like it wasn't about, who you were. It was about where you were. If you're here, then, we coming together because we need it. We all need each other, and like we said, like it's in this day today, like we're just working and working and working to the point where we're just working for ourselves, or we're working for our family, but we're not really working to contribute to each other. You know what I mean? Like it's not really, it's not the go. And after Taxman takes his chunk, what do you have left to contribute to another person, to another household? You just got to keep that for your household. And like that's the kind of way we've been built to. I don't know. That's how this society is kind of structured now. You know what I mean? But like that never really was the case for us. Like growing up, we didn't have anything, man. Like mum hitting like people up for loans, and like she getting given food and presents on Christmas, and like we just always had to get given a lot of shit. And so my mum would give a lot of stuff away because she would understand what it's like to have nothing. And to the other people around us that had nothing, we would all have nothing together, so we could just so we could have some sort of something, you know, like togetherness, you know, unity. That stuff felt more like meant more than like having a bunch of shit, you know, and not being connected like that. You know, that's something I, you know, hold dear. Is even though I didn't have a lot growing up, you know, the connections that I made, like the mates that I made from like, oh yeah, you got nothing? Oh shit, I got the same. I go through the same shit. Rah, da da da. You know what I mean? Like that connection is something that like, that's what brings people together. And how I feel is that if you're not on the ground floor, if you're not living it, if you're not trying to like empathize and come down here and like check us out and walk with us, then you're never gonna understand. Like, it's just never gonna be that case. Like, if you're not willing to share your food with us, if you're not willing to open your door and like share with us, then you could never be in a place of giving. You could never like open your heart up like that, you know, without experiencing that struggle and without coming to experience and walk with us, without experiencing that feeling, how it felt, you're never gonna understand. And the people that walk that feeling, you know, like yourself, you know, people that come from other countries and like they feel misplaced, and people that like might even like they're here on this country and they're from colonized descent, but they still feel out of place because they feel like, oh my God, like it was so wrong. So now I feel misplaced because this is what my ancestors did, but I don't connect with that. They feel misplaced. And it's a whole bunch of like feeling like you don't belong. But the fact of the matter is that like we're here today because we do belong and we do have a place. We belong in each other's lives, you know, like, and like shit may have went down, man, and like it's fucked up, you know, when you learn about that, when you learn about Indigenous issues, but like you learn about why we're here and the real facts and the stuff behind it, man. Like, it's enough to make you like angry, man. But I've reached that like point where like I'm driven by anger, and I'm driven by like I don't know, I'm in a state of confusion, like why would you do this? I'm in a state of like lost hope. Feel like I've lost hope. I feel like we're losing and this and that, like, you know, it's a very depressed feeling, man. And like I feel like, what are we gonna do? But that's the thing, man, to reach peace in my own mind, I have to rise above that, you know. And what I see is that like I am at this understanding because of the stuff that we've been through, because of the stuff that I've been through with my parents, and because of the stuff that I've been through throughout my life, you know. This is why I feel so strongly about my people, you know, because I sat and took the time to listen to the old people. I sat and took the time to listen to my Indigenous teacher, you know, teacher of Aboriginal Studies, and you know, I sat and took the time to look at the situations that happened around me, man, and like, sometimes I wonder why they can't reach this level of understanding, you know. Sometimes I wonder why they just can't get there. But in that sense, like, I can't just stop because of that. Like, people are always gonna be like that, man. People are always gonna be like doing the wrong thing. You know, humans aren't perfect, bro. I swear, like, you know, it's just like that, bro. And I see that people like have trauma on like both sides, man. There's trauma on both sides. It's actually like that, man. And to grow together, I guess we need to just being in this place where everyone's just put together, so many races, so many religions, so many like spiritualities. Everyone's just gonna have to accept one another and have to make time to listen to each other if we're ever gonna get where we're going. You know what I mean? We can't just like, I'll put it this way. When we had 250 different Aboriginal countries coinciding for thousands and thousands of years, there was law put in place, there was rules put in place, and you couldn't go over there, on that country speaking your yarn, because that's not the same one. That's not the same law that they have over there. It's not the same protocols, So if you're going to go over there, you're going to respect that person. You're going to respect that, that you're going to respect that group. You're going to respect that land and its cultures, and you had to be invited. You couldn't just walk over there, But now we're living in this place today where there's no boundaries. You can say whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. You know what I mean? And there's no like backlash. And I think that freedom is like just, people can become like very ignorant to the fact, I've even been in that place, man. Like, I was immature at a point in time too, I'll even say I was racist, bro, because of my thinking pattern, because I thought my race was the only race that mattered. But it's not like that, you know what I mean? It's very different. My race is important and my race matters, like for sure, man, but I got into a place of thinking where like we were the only ones that mattered, And I guess that comes from being told that you don't matter, you know what I mean? Being told that you're not needed, being told that you got no place here. You have to step up and claim that, you know what I mean? But then I I felt myself become like, just a human. I felt myself be human and make mistakes, and like that pride just took a different turn with me, and I had to step down and like humble myself and just realize that, look, like, there's a reason why you have an understanding of the things around you. It's because you were born into this, and so even though at younger times I resented the way I was brought up, I now am thankful for that, because I have an understanding of the problem. I have an understanding of the issue. And for some reason, the fellas that make the decisions don't. They don't have that understanding, and it's sad, bro. And I would much rather have this understanding than just, not know what's going on. You know what I mean? I know what's going on, and it's up to me to like do something about it, but like it's on everyone, you know what I mean? Like individually to reach that point. And so, yeah, I mean, how I feel about the day, man, bro, this should have happened already, my bro. It should have, that respect should have been there. It should have been already done, but I feel like we're moving regardless, man, like people are moving regardless, non-Indigenous, Indigenous, like these babies aren't stopped being black. These babies are coming, man. I got a baby. We all got babies. We all got like, the generation is moving up. Like I can't even fathom properly like how fast it's moving, bro. Like yeah, it's crazy, bro. I'm gonna be an elder soon. You know what I mean? And it's just like to be that to reach that point. I gotta stay listening. I gotta stay learning. Like, and yeah, I can't be speaking like more than I'm listening, because I have to be able to understand what's going on right now, because sometimes I look around in the world like I don't understand what's going on, like the wars and shit like that, my bro, like just world issues, like the shit that you see on the news, like that shit is not just here. That shit is everywhere. Like there's evil in this world, bro. You know what I mean? There's evilness, and like that's what I'm saying. Like I'm trying to make music to fight that shit. Not to accommodate it. Not to, I think there's music that accommodates it, and that's just not my type of music, man. My music is like a weapon. I'm making these words to weaponize, you know, like these words are getting weaponized when I speak on tracks. And you know, if I'm gonna spit, I'm not gonna like just say some shit just because it's cool or whatever, because it's just like that ain't me. Like, it ain't what I'm supposed to be doing here. I'm supposed to be empowering these kids, man. Like, these kids are the most important thing. Like, and I've realized that, bro. Like, one thing that I can say, man, and I say it all the time, like, I can't believe that I'm playing to these kids, man. You know, like, I didn't start out writing words appropriate for these kids. Like, that's not where I started, but that's where I'm at now. I'm rapping to these children, you know, like, and I'm teaching them and I'm empowering them, and I'm going inside schools, you know, like, I've been in that many schools over like the past years, but like, I just don't put it up, because I don't do it just to put it up. I don't do it to be like, I'm here. I'm just here, you know, like, trying to lead the way, and, you know, like, because that's something that you don't have a choice in, you know, like, you're born to be a role model. You're born to be looked at, and you're always going to be looked at, like, whether you got little nieces or nephews or a son or a daughter, or if you don't have any of them, you're still going to be looked at. The kids are still going to look at you and watch you and how you walk, and, you know, all that.
The lesson. 927. Oh yeah.